People didn't want to see men playing in women's sports. They didn't want to see transgender for everybody. They didn't want to see all of the different things that they do that's so crazy. Open borders. I mean, the worst thing that he did to us, it's not inflation, because we fixed inflation. Prices are way down.
Transgender for everybody.
I don't know if you saw that gasoline went to 58 just now. Did you see what's going on with gasoline? No, $58 a barrel. Yeah, nobody can believe it. I'm very proud of that. You know why? Because we're pumping like we've never pumped before. Because if you get the gas price down, everything else comes down. It's very simple. And he went away from my policies, and you had the greatest inflation. The last administration had the greatest inflation in the history of our country. And now, as you know, groceries are down. It's all down.
Is it? It don't feel like it. I don't know. I mean, oil prices are the only thing that's like seemingly down, but everything else doesn't seem to be down at all. And if you ask the average Republican, I don't think they think the grocery prices are down either. They actually complain about it quite a bit. And it's not just the grocery prices, it's the rent that is like very costly. It's the healthcare that is very costly. It's the medicine that's very costly. So oil is supposed to gear the entirety of the economy. And when the oil prices go down, all the other prices are supposed to readjust, and they're supposed to go down as well, except they haven't. And in the absence of any sort of like regulatory control, in the absence of any sort of like price controls, for example, which I know is a scary statement to make, or even utilities prices are also up too, especially energy, like electricity prices are up. It's all f***ed. That's the real issue. And in the absence of solving that real issue, discontent will only continue to grow. And Trump can still keep redirecting the attention to a more appropriate target by his own, grand design, the transgender, Antifa radical Marxists and the undocumented Guatemalans or whatever. But ultimately, you can't just keep coasting on how great things actually are in secret, how great things are for the stock market, and then not expect your own base to go, man, you do talk about the stock market quite a bit. And while some of us have 401ks, like that's not really actually translating to my pockets hurting less year over year. And in terms of the economy and the way that people feel, the way that people perceive the economy, for the record, and this is the most important thing, this was a major issue with the Brandon administration as well. It partially led to the Democrats losing the election to Donald Trump. It played a big role in the Democrats losing the election to Donald Trump. They thought that they could just like communicate their way out of this. They thought they could be like, no, it's just vibes. Your pockets aren't actually hurting. Your pockets aren't actually hurting. And obviously that was not something that people were willing to entertain. Clearly, people feel the way that they feel when they see how much money they have left at the end of the month. And it's not because they're spending all their budget and blowing it on like avocado toast, as they used to say about the millennials. I don't know what they say about Gen Z, I guess OnlyFans maybe, or gambling. But like, it's not that. It's that the overall economy for the 90% that is not in the top 10% of wealth, that has ownership stake in the stock market at least, for the 90% of Americans that live in the real world, it's not because like Netflix and DoorDash and Disney Plus subscriptions that are really burning a hole in their budgets. It's the fact that rent is 50% of their wages. That is insane. As long as rent is 50% of people's wages, even if wages go up, it doesn't feel like wages are going up. And marginal price shocks, marginal increases in the cost of goods overall is going to be felt way harder by people like this, because they automatically don't have 50% of the wages. Like it's going, 10% is going to like healthcare and stuff. And then the 50% is going to their rent. What are they supposed to do? People are obviously frustrated. And in the absence of any sort of solution to that, you can cry about transgender people all day, every day, but people are still going to get mad. MTG's picking up what you're putting down. Yeah, this was an incredible moment of brutal honesty once again from the least likely person. Marjorie Taylor Greene once again spitting on another podcast talking about the affordability crisis that is harming everyday Americans, even Republicans.
Like those are the two things I can't find. And when Republicans, and I'm criticizing also Congress big time. I'm really grateful to a lot of the things the president is doing, but I'm really upset with the direction Congress is going. When we are not doing anything to address the cost of living, We aren't doing anything about Blackstone buying up houses where most young people can't find a house and they're having to compete in bidding wars.
Right.
And we're not doing anything
Marxist Tito is green. Maoist Tito is green.
About health insurance premiums. Then for the love of God, what are we doing?
That's it. And the reality of the matter is that kind of fake populism was also pushed by Donald Trump. That's how he won. Donald Trump didn't just coast off of racial animus, okay? I know that played a formative role in his commentary in the election cycle, but he didn't just coast off of that. He packaged that with the affordability crisis. He looked at the affordability crisis and presented it and presented the enemies, presented the reason for that affordability crisis with a Democratic Party that was unable or disinterested in actually solving the affordability crisis because they were too invested in giving all the money to the undocumenteds, to the illegal aliens, right? That's what he did. But ultimately, there were certainly some people who cared about the undocumented equation, either because they were duped into believing that it was actually undocumented migrants that were stealing all of their welfare or some shit, which is wrong, obviously. It's not real at all. That's completely made up. But there were plenty of others who are also like, yeah, I don't really give a shit. I just don't want Mexicans around me, right? I don't want black and brown people around me. This is definitely an animating political force in this country. White supremacy has been left unaddressed for hundreds of years in this nation, and white supremacy is a major motivator for a lot of people. However, if you want to capture the attention of the broadest subsect of Americans, simply farming white supremacy and racialized animus and pushing for white nativist anti-immigrant sentiments are not actually going to move the needle for many people. After a certain point, they're going to realize, okay, you're doing mass deportations, you're funding ICE, these guys are actually creating so much chaos in my neighborhood, and it doesn't feel like my pockets are hurting any less. And at that point, you need a united popular front.